In a small town, nestled between quiet green hills, lived a boy named Ethan. He was just like any other kid. He went to school, played with his friends, listened to birds sing, and watched the clouds drift across the sky. Life was simple, and in many ways, it was good. But there was one thing Ethan struggled with more than anything else. Studying, no matter how hard he tried, the lessons just never seemed to stay in his mind. Words would swim before his eyes, numbers would jumble together, and important facts would vanish just when he needed them most. He forgot things, easily. He lost focus quickly. When he made mistakes in class, he'd hear the whispers, and sometimes the quiet laughter of his classmates. Slowly, a painful thought began to take root in his mind. Maybe, he told himself, I'm just not smart enough. That thought grew heavier each day, casting a shadow over his bright, young world. One afternoon, long after the school bell had rung and the hallways had emptied, Ethan noticed his philosophy teacher, Mr. Harris, still sitting alone in the classroom. Gathering all his courage, Ethan walked up to the desk and said in a soft, trembling voice, "Sir, can I talk to you?" Mr. Harris looked up from his papers, and a warm, kind smile spread across his face. "Of course, Ethan. Sit down. What's on your mind?" Ethan hesitated, his words catching in his throat. He finally let them out in a rush. "I'm really bad at studying. I can't focus. I can't remember anything. Honestly, I feel hopeless. Can you give me some advice?" He braced himself for a lecture, or maybe even a look of disappointment. But Mr. Harris didn't laugh. He didn't criticize. He simply looked at Ethan with understanding and said, "You're not alone, Ethan. A lot of people feel that way, and Yesi can help you." His first lesson began with a simple object. Mr. Harris picked up a glass bottle filled with muddy water and placed it on the desk between them. "What do you see?" he asked. "Dirty water," Ethan replied, a little confused. Mr. Harris nodded. "Let's leave it here for a while." They sat in comfortable silence. An hour later, they looked at the bottle again. All the dirt and mud had settled to the bottom, leaving the water at the top perfectly clear. "Our minds are just like this water," Mr. Harris explained gently. "When they're filled with stress, fear, and all the noise from the day, we can't think clearly. Everything is murky. So, before you study, I want you to do something simple. Close your eyes for 5 minutes. Just breathe. Let the mud in your mind settle. Calm your mind first. That's lesson 1. For the second lesson, Mr. Harris lit a single candle and placed it on the desk. Its flame flickered softly in the quiet room. "Now," he said, "I want you to focus only on the flame. Watch how it dances. Notice its colors. Try to think of nothing else." At first, Ethan's mind was a whirlwind. He thought about his upcoming exams, the mistakes he'd made, and the worries that were always buzzing in the background. But as he kept bringing his attention back to the steady, gentle flame, his thoughts began to quiet down. "The past is gone," Mr. Harris said softly. "You can't change it. The future hasn't arrived yet. You can't control it. All learning, all of life, happens right here, right now, in this present moment. When you study, bring your full attention to the task at hand. Who's like you, redoing with this flame. Focus on the present. That's lesson 2. Next, Mr. Harris brought out a sponge and a rock, placing them side by side. He took a pitcher of water and poured it over both. The sponge soaked up the water instantly, becoming full and heavy. The water simply ran off the smooth surface of the rock, leaving it wet but unchanged inside. "Memorization without understanding is like this rock," Mr. Harris said, pointing. "The information just slides off. You might hold on to it for a short time, but it never becomes a part of you. But understanding is like the sponge. It absorbs knowledge. It makes it yours." He continued, "Don't just memorize words from a book. Ask why. Why is this important? How does this connect to something I already know? Try to explain it in your own words. Use your own examples. Make the knowledge real for you. Understand. Don't just memorize." That's lesson 3. For the fourth lesson, Mr. Harris handed Ethan a large, solid block of wood. "Break it," he instructed. Ethan pushed and pulled, trying to snap it with his bare hands. But the block was too thick and strong. He couldn't even make a crack. Mr. Harris then took the block and, using a small saw, cut it into several smaller, more manageable pieces. He handed them back to Ethan. This time, Ethan snapped each small piece with ease. "You see?" Mr. Harris smiled. "You can't learn an entire subject all at once. It's too big, too overwhelming, just like that solid block of wood. Break your big topics into small parts. Study one small concept, 10 the next. Learn a little bit each day. Big goals are achieved with small, manageable steps." That's lesson 4. For his final lesson, Mr. Harris took Ethan outside to the school garden. He held 2 small flower pots, both filled with soil. In each one, he planted a few seeds. He handed Ethan a small watering can. "This first pot," he said, "we will water every single day. This second pot, we will ignore." They did just that. Ethan watered the first pot every day. Days turned into a week, and then 2. Soon, a tiny green sprout pushed its way out of the soil in the first pot. The other pot remained empty. Just barren dirt. "Even 20 minutes of practice a day matters," Mr. Harris explained. "But only if you're consistent. Learning is a seed. Your daily effort is the water. Without consistent watering, the seed will never grow. Practice every day, even if it's just for a little while." That is the final lesson. Over the next few weeks and months, Ethan followed every one of Mr. Harris's lessons. He started each study session by calming his mind. He practiced focusing on the present moment. He worked hard to understand concepts, not just memorize them. He broke down his subjects into small pieces and studied consistently, day after day. At first, nothing dramatic happened. There was no overnight miracle. But slowly, a quiet transformation began. He found he could focus for longer periods. He started to connect ideas and truly understand his lessons. The fear of failure began to fade, replaced by a growing sense of confidence. His grades improved, of course, but more importantly, something inside him changed. He started to enjoy the process of learning. It was no longer a chore, but a fascinating journey of discovery. 5 years passed. Ethan had grown into a confident, thoughtful, and successful young man, excelling in his studies and in life. He often thought back to that quiet afternoon in the classroom and the 5 simple lessons that didn't just teach him how to study, but taught him how to learn, how to grow, and how to live. If you're struggling right now, whether it's with studying or with any challenge in your life, remember Ethan's story. Remember the 5 lessons. First, calm your mind. Let the muddy water settle. Second, focus on the present. That's where all power lies. Third, seek to understand, not just to memorize. Fourth, break your big goals into small, achievable steps. And fifth, practice regularly. Consistency is what turns effort into results. Small, simple efforts, when repeated daily, will always grow into great and lasting success. You have the ability to learn and to change. It all starts with that first small step. If this story inspired you, please like and share this video. It might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories designed to change the way you think and live. Thank you for watching.